Hey guys, how's it going? This is Tim, bringing you guys Daily Deals with Tim, where I talk about the latest news and deals on cryptocurrency, all for you guys. And before I begin, this is my personal opinion and not financial advice. Now, today, I want to share with you guys Bitcoin being fast and cheap because of a couple of updates that came. There were some major updates with the Bitcoin Core wallet and also major exchanges adopting some of the features such as Segwit and batching. Now let's get into it. So one of the big news that came out is the top exchanges slash the Bitcoin transaction fees as Segwit adoption spreads. Now Segwit is shortened for segregated witness. And what this does is it takes the signature portion out of the transactions. I believe it's going to be a separate. And with that, it reduces the size of the transaction. So when Segwit is fully adopted, the size of the transaction are going to be massively reduced. I believe up to half, but I'm not too sure on the details on that. But with these upgrades and the exchanges adopting Segwit, such as TenX and Coinbase, they have reduced these exchanges reduced the withdrawal fees in Bitcoin. And as you can see, the Segwit adoption went from mere 15% to over 30%, doubling in just 48 hours. So as Segwit adoption begins and accelerates, the lower the Bitcoin transaction fees will be and lower the withdrawal fees will be from these exchanges. And going on, so this is the article from Coinbase coming from Dan Romero. They're announcing the Segwit support on Coinbase. This was a couple weeks ago, but if you guys are using Coinbase, make sure to check if your addresses start with this 3, because that means it's a Segwit compatible Bitcoin address. And if it starts with 1, that means it's a legacy address. But if it starts with 3, that means that it has a Segwit enabled. So this will be, in the short term, this doesn't really have much impact because right now Bitcoin transaction fees are really low. However, when we get those December crazy rises again, when there are people just jumping in the Bitcoin train, we're going to have another surge in Bitcoin fee. However, with so many Segwit adopted, that is going to have a lot more positive effect on the transaction fees. So maybe during last December, we had fees up to like $100 just to send Bitcoin. But with these Segwit addresses enabled, it will most likely even reduce those fees by half or even more. Also, there is this thing called batching, which kind of aggregates all these small transactions and puts them into one big transaction. Now that's going to be important as well, but I'll be going into that a little later. So Coinbase just update you guys. They're looking forward to transaction batching, which is what I explained, and improve UTXO management and Lightning Network as well. So Lightning Network is this whole separate beast, but what it aims to do is connect everyone on a second layer transaction. And this would cost low fees with almost instantaneous transaction speed. Now with this, you do need to set up a node, Lightning node, and put in some Bitcoin in order to open these payment channels. But this is going to be work in progress, both in the Lightning Network mainnet and in Coinbase. So we'll be looking forward to that. Also, Bitfinex adopts Segwit, and they have lower BTC fees and faster processing times. And they did even a 25% into 33.3% decrease. Now only at the BTC withdrawal fees are only at 40,000 sats. I think that's still pretty expensive. However, for exchanges, they do need to secure these funds, so it involves some extra fees. But for regular Bitcoin wallets on Trezor and Ledger, I believe the fees will be a lot cheaper than this. I think you can get it for even like 1 or 2 satoshis per byte, which comes out to be like 1,000 or 2,000 satoshis, which is pretty good. So one more thing that I explained before is that the transaction volume, no, I haven't explained this before, so let me go through this. So currently the Bitcoin transaction volume is pretty low compared to a couple months back when it was reaching the apex with those $100 fees. Right now, the Bitcoin transaction volumes are pretty low. However, one possible reason for this is that there is batching and that it is not due to a lack of demand. Now, as I explained batching before, it's gathering all these small transactions and lumping it into one big one transaction. Therefore, let's say if you had 10 transactions before, if you batch it into one, it becomes just one transaction. Now, I'm oversimplifying this, but I'm trying to give you guys the big picture. So even though we have a lot less transaction volume, it can be caused by the batching process, making it more efficient rather than spreading out all these small transactions and trying to confirm that one by one. So that could be possible. Now, if you guys want to see if this is true or not, you would need to go into every transaction and see. But I think this could be a very possible reason, as a lot of exchanges adopted batching in their network. Also, another huge upgrade is the Bitcoin Core client upgraded to 0.16.0. Now, this has native Segwit enabled. So what that means is that when you run your full node and you download the Bitcoin Core GUI wallet, that's going to have Segwit enabled so that people could send the Bitcoin with a Segwit enabled wallet instead of the legacy wallet. And they also have a lot of new features added to the wallet, but the most important feature is the Segwit. And the Segwit addresses start with 3, and it also supports the native Segwit addresses starting with BC1. Now, I believe the BC1 is going to be something related to BEC32. I'm not sure too much about that, but it's going to change the addresses to BC1 or something like that in order to make it more recognizable. I think that is on the way, but not too sure on that details. But yeah, that is the gist of today's update. I think Bitcoin is very usable right now. It might get a little more clogged later on as more people surge into the space, but I think we're seeing a lot of upgrades to the Bitcoin client, to many exchanges, and the batching and Segwit, and Lightning Network is on the way too. The mainnet for Lightning Network is launched. It's getting a lot of payment channels open. It's getting more decentralized, and we'll be seeing more upgrades to the Bitcoin network. So I'm excited for this. I am excited to see Bitcoin grow, not only from price-wise, but from technological side too. And that's it for today. If you guys like this kind of content, like this video, comment below, and smash that subscribe button. Also, if you guys want to support the channel, check out the links below, and I really appreciate that. And as always, I'll bring you guys more deals on Daily Deals with Tim.